Welcome back to the channel, guys. Hope you're all doing well. I did a video on leg action and the myth of leg action in conjunction with body track, and I talked about how we can use the forces in our feet to inspire rotation of the pelvis, which ultimately will encourage more rotation of the chest. Now in that video, and if you haven't checked it out, hit the link above to go find that one. I talked about the sideways, the lateral motion in our feet, or the lateral shift of weight in our feet that can either inspire good rotation or inhibit rotation. Today, I want to talk to you now about, instead of the right to left foot pressures, I want to talk to you about the heel and toe pressures, because they are as important as the left foot, right foot pressures. And obviously, same as last time, or the same as the leg action myth video, I'm going to have the body track tracing app up on the screen. So I'm going to get back on the mat again, and just to remind you that as you see it, as you see the white ball moving around on your screen, as you look at me, this is my left foot. As you look on the screen, on the trace, the left foot is actually the left foot. And the reason why it's flipped the other way around is because when a client or I are standing on the mat and I've got the screen up, the pressure trace is 1 for 1. So the one on the left-hand side is actually my left foot, and one of the ones right foot. So just to remind you, so as I lean on my right foot, the dot goes to the right foot. When I lean on my left foot, the dot goes to the left foot. So let's talk about heel and toe. And so I want to dispel another myth. And when you hear people talk about posture and setup, and a common one I hear is people standing in a goal mouth, weight on the toes of your feet, and ready to catch a football. Well, the reason you would want to stand on your toes or bias towards your toes if you were catching a football is because the football is going to push you back this way. It's going to push you from the toes to the heels. In a golf swing, the pressure and force is the opposite way. The golf club is trying to pull you in that direction. So we need to have a force through our feet that opposes that force. So if I was to grip the golf club and someone was about to come up and try and pull it out of my hands, the very last place I would want to be biasing is in the toes of my feet. Because when they then pull me, I'd then be off balance, wouldn't I? So let's quash this idea that I want to be heavily on the toes of my feet before I start a golf swing. Because what then happens is, as I set myself up over the golf ball, and if we can appreciate that when we're standing up tall, that there's a line running through the middles of our feet, running vertically, as I tip my spine forwards of that vertical line, I need to make sure that I've got a reasonably good balance up of the top of my spine and the base of my spine either side of that vertical line. And hopefully in my editing I'm going to draw a line up and I'm going to show you that. So here I am in my posture, my glutes are back of the center line, my forehead is forwards of the center line. Now I'm in balance, and now I have a much better chance of being able to get myself in a heel bias weight distribution. Because for me, that's where it should be. It should not be toe bias distribution in the feet. It should be more heel bias distribution in the feet. And so here we are at setup, and we can see on the screen here that I've got a 50-50 weight distribution between heel and toe. Now, as we make a golf swing and we start to use our right foot to create the force in the mat, what's going to happen is, for my beliefs, the right hip will start to work back, and then the energy of this left hip moving forwards will now drive the weight onto the toe of my left foot. Well, if the hip is moving forwards and the hip is moving around, this knee's going to kick in. The knee is not going to hold itself out. Back in the day, there was always a biggie of keep the knees apart and try and rotate. Well, the very best of luck with that. So as we make a rotation, this left knee should kick forwards and swing around. And what that does is then starts to plant pressure onto the toe of my left foot, which is what you can see on the screen. As this right hip comes back, now all of a sudden, the pressure in my right foot goes more towards the heel. So actually on the screen at the moment, you can see that my right foot, there's actually very little pressure in the toe of my foot. It's more in the heel of my foot. And so as that right hip moves back, the right heel will be way more biased in its pressure. When we see people move laterally in a backswing and the golf club swings up, invariably we see the toe of the right foot being the one that exhibits all of the pressure in the ground. That creates short rotations, poor arm pitches, and errors are plenty from there. So what I would inspire you to do, and I'm just going to grab a little bit of apparatus here, and as if by magic, I'm standing on it. This pipe here allows you to feel pressure change between heel and toe. So when you start on it, try to get your feet level so you feel like the pressure is up through the middle of your feet, and you can do this with a towel. Then as you make a backswing, now try to get the heel to sit back of the pipe and the toe to sit forwards of the pipe. So as you make a backswing, you can now see how I've got heel up, toe up, which now all of a sudden makes sense when you think about the hip, left hip moving forwards, the right hip moving backwards. And so therefore, heel and toe is how we should see pressure working in our backswing. In the through swing, it opposes exactly the same force. As I pull on the golf club, I'm going to start to move the pressure from toe to heel, which now will start to pull my hip back, which starts to pull the handle out. Now, for those of you that think the handle should move down, that's a whole new conversation, and there's certainly a video coming your way on that one. So I'm up to the top of my backswing. I've now got force in my left toe, got force in my right heel. As I move down, now you'll start to see the pressure on the trace here move back into my left heel. And as it moves back into my left heel, so much so, I could actually make my left toe light. Now as I start to work around, because I'm back in the heel is balancing up the side bend of my body. If I had weight on the toe of my foot, I would fall over. And if I fall over, I then stand up and out. So what we see as early extension and pulling out of a shot could be to do with your feet and not the persistence in people trying to stick their butts back or their chest forwards. Pressure through your feet will balance the column above the balance point of your feet. So as we've got this golf club trying to swing itself off over here, and I don't mean inside out, I mean just over there, I need to make sure I've got a force going backwards to oppose that force going outwards. And in pushing the pressure from the toe to the heel in the downswing, it opens my hip up and pulls the club back inside. And it's the foot pressure from heel to toe along with the sideways force that we're creating in the backswing, aka my other video, leg action myth. Those two pressure directions, right foot to left foot, heel to toe, will be the ingredients that makes your column spin around. And as long as you start to create that spin around with your feet and not thinking of it as hip rotation, and I think that's a really important one. Look at the pressure trace, and I get this a lot. I've been working really hard on my rotation. You get someone to stand on the mat and then you see them spin their hips around as much as they possibly can. Can you see how there's absolutely no force in the floor? But yet, I now start to create rotation. Look at how that ball is now moving around on the screen. And I'm creating rotation. So heel and toe activity is hugely important to, again, create more rotation, more balance and opposition for this golf club that's trying to swing itself away from you, so that when you pull it, and I mean pull the golf club, it is actually moving in a direction that your torso is trying to spin you in. Again, another video coming on that one, loads of information hopefully coming your way. Hopefully this has been insightful. Once again, this is not about quick tip, fix mentality. This is about changing the way you view and perceive the golf swing in an effort to make you play better. And I think starting from the ground up and the grip are two areas that for me I'm really, really passionate about. If you've liked the video, please like it, subscribe while you're here, share with your friends. Loads of content coming your way. And if you've got any thoughts, stick them in the comments below. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one.